If you suffer from cervicogenic dizziness, a dizziness disorder that's triggered by pain in the upper neck, and you're looking for answers, what are some things that I could be doing that's making my symptoms worse? In today's video, I'm going to break down the top 5 causes of cervicogenic dizziness that I see every day in my clinic, and I'm going to give you some strategies on how to improve it. Let's dive into number 5 right now. Number 5, poor sitting posture. Our number 5 problem, poor sitting posture, is something that all of us could probably work on, including myself. And I'm going to break down exactly why sitting posture is so important for cervicogenic dizziness. And it all starts with this. If my lower back posture is a little bit relaxed and I allow my back to kind of sink down a little bit into that kind of slouched position, what's going to happen is now to keep my eyes level with the horizon, I have to bring my head up. Now what I've done is I've created a relative neck extension moment. My neck is now extended back. If I sit this way, working at a computer or watching TV for too long, my neck's going to start to feel really stiff into this extension position. And then later, if I correct my posture, it's going to feel very difficult to flex forward. It's probably going to feel very difficult to rotate. If you have pain or tightness in your upper neck, because of a ton of nerve receptors called proprioceptors, pain disrupts those nerves, and that's going to lead to dizziness imbalance. So we want the upper neck to feel happy. Our necks are designed to move, and if we stay in one place too long, that's going to be a problem. So one thing that I teach my patients all the time is if you're watching TV, make sure you're not watching TV for 3 hours without changing positions. If you're working on your computer, make sure you get up every hour, move around a little bit, walk. Maybe do some gentle neck range of motion exercise. Try that 5 or 10 times. Maybe do the same thing the other way. But getting up and getting weight bearing, that's going to start to loosen up some of those muscles. One tip that I give my patients all the time is if every 15 minutes, if you're working at your desk, if you grow tall from a slumped posture, bring your chin to neutral and relax your shoulders just slightly open, that's going to take stress and strain off the joints of your neck, and it's going to stimulate those good stabilizing muscles to start giving you relief. It's an easy exercise. Put it into your routine, give it a try, and see what you think. Now let's get into our number 4 problem. Number 4, too much inactivity. For our number 4 problem, this is a problem that I see a ton with my patients when they come into clinic and they have neck pain and they have dizziness. The natural reaction to feeling bad, especially if you feel dizzy and unsafe, is to sit down, to recline back, and to lay down. But guess what? Our necks are designed to be up and moving. I went to a lecture and they said that in the third world countries where people routinely walk a lot, they carry baskets, they carry heavy loads, they only have a fraction of neck and back disability compared to Western culture. So I tell my patients all the time, for your balance receptors to work, for your muscles to work, we need to be up and we need to be moving against gravity. So even if you can just slightly get up out of bed, bring your chin to a nice neutral posture, and maybe just walk through a hall. Maybe you're close to the wall in case you lose your balance, or maybe a family member's with you. But getting up and exposing your neck to weight bearing, it's going to loosen your tight muscles. It's going to start to strengthen those deep muscles that protect your neck. Your balance receptors have to have gravity in order to work appropriately. One exercise that I show my patients a lot, and you may have seen this on my channel because it's a simple thing that you can do, is I have a little weighted bag. It could be rice or beans or popcorn, whatever you have. But if I put this on, what it does is it gives my neck just a little bit of extra gravity. So if I can get into a nice posture, and now maybe I started out with just walking down my hall, and now maybe I advance to doing it with a little bit of weight on my head. Make sure that the weight is pain-free. If you have too much weight, it could make you feel more dizzy or it could make your neck hurt. In that case, dump some out and try it again. But if you can find that you can tolerate a little bit of weight bearing while you're walking, it is a fantastic exercise to start getting your neck stabilizers back on. So that would be my tip. Fix something up, maybe a little bit of a hand towel, small bag. Give it a try. If it makes you feel bad, just do it. Well, I call it the imaginary bowl of water on the head. Don't put a weight up there. But give it a try 3, 4, 5 times a day. Try it for 2 or 3 minutes. This can be a big asset to helping your dizziness. Now let's get into our number 3 problem. So if you're enjoying today's video, but you want to dive deeper, don't miss my new book, Cervicogenic Dizziness Relief, A Complete Guide to a Dizzy-Free Life. In my book, I put all of my routines, all my exercises, self-manual therapy techniques that I teach my patients every day. There are a ton of books out there that help with dizziness and imbalance, but there are very few books that are specifically made for cervicogenic dizziness. So I've made it for you guys as a great resource. I'll leave the link below. Check it out. It could be a big help. All right, let's get back to the video. Problem number 3, doing too much of the wrong exercise. The number 3 problem. This one is a big deal for a lot of my patients. I've had several conversations just recently about this exact topic. Maybe you have a fitness trainer and your fitness trainer has you on a plan to lose X amount of weight over this year. So his goal is to work you hard. You want to burn those calories, but maybe your neck is not strong and stable and safe enough to do some of these exercises. This one I see all the time. I've had patients strain their neck doing squat exercises. I've had patients strain their neck doing deadlifts. I've had patients strain their neck doing exercises where there's kind of quick, rapid motion. Maybe jumping jacks or jump squats. Any of these type of exercises that have a lot of acceleration to it and your neck's not working at 100%, it could easily flare you up. You may also go to some therapy classes or maybe you learn some exercises online that are supposed to be helpful for dizziness. Common exercise, they call it the VOR exercise. You look at a target and you go right to left kind of quickly while you're looking at one object. If you don't have the perfect strength and control of your neck, this exercise could be too much. It could cause your joints to get stiff and tight, and that could cause dizziness. So if there's a way to examine maybe your regular exercise routine that you're doing, or maybe something that your gym instructor gave you, start to dig into them, start to look at each one of them, and if you can think to yourself, that one does strain my neck when I do it, maybe leave it out of your routine for a week or 2 and see if that helps decrease your dizziness. Because if you're doing the right things to help, but you're also doing the wrong things, they could negate one another. Now let's get into our number 2 problem. Problem number 2, the stiff upper neck. Now we're getting into the neck or the cervical spine itself. If you have tight joints in your upper neck, we call those the facet joints. Anywhere at C1, C2, C3, maybe even C4, and then you turn your neck during the day, that turning could stress the joints, irritate it, cause pain and inflammation. That's going to disrupt the nerves that live in the muscles at the base of your head called proprioceptors. Then your brain's going to get a conflict of information. Your eyes say, hey, the room's not moving. Your ears are saying, we're not spinning. But your brain needs that information from your upper neck to see where your head's at in space. So tightness and stiffness could lead to dizziness. So let's look at an exercise. An exercise that's been around for a long time. It's been around for a reason. It can help a lot of folks. There was a famous therapist from New Zealand named Robin McKenzie, and this was an exercise that he would teach if you have pain with rotation. It's important as you do this exercise to make sure that it's pain-free and that it doesn't increase your dizziness. But this is kind of how it goes. Let's go with a scenario where I'm really tight turning to the left, much more so than maybe turning to the right. If you sit tall with your lower back, bring your chin neutral, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slightly tuck my chin just a little bit in towards my throat, kind of like I'm sliding it straight back. It's a little bit of a chin tuck in towards my throat. Now I'm going to sustain that chin tuck, and then I'm going to rotate to the left. For the right person, the right time, with adding just a little bit of a McKenzie chin tuck, you might notice that really decreases some of the tightness with turning to the left. If it does, use that exercise, use this technique to maybe try 5 or 10 reps. And this could easily be a 2 or 3 time a day exercise that you could do. Another tip that I would say too, to help if you have really tight, painful rotating left, would be relax your shoulders and slightly open your shoulders back and down. Now, combine the relaxed shoulders back and down with the chin tuck, and 9 out of 10 times you'll notice it's just a little bit easier and less painful to do that rotation. But if you're able to do some gentle range of motion exercise and diminish some of the stiffness in your upper neck, it's only going to help with neck pain and dizziness. Now let's get into the number 1 biggest problem. We're going to look at that right now. Problem number 1, weakness and poor control of the deep neck stabilizers. All right, we've made it to our top 5 countdown to the number 1 biggest problem that I see hands down with all of my patients, and that is weakness and poor control of your deep neck stabilizers. My patients will tell me a frequent thing that I hear all the time. They'll say, you know what, my neck's been kind of sore for a while, and I got to tell you, my head is starting to feel heavy from my neck. It feels like it's such a struggle for me to just hold my head up. It would feel so much better if I could just rest it back on something. Or maybe lying down just takes the stress and the pressure off. Maybe I take a pillow and I put it behind my head when I'm on the couch watching TV or my chair because it's just too difficult to hold my head. That is that classic sign that the muscles that would stabilize your neck, that would hold your 10-pound head up, they've just lost so much strength, they've lost endurance, they're going to lose the timing. And in that scenario, you're going to have what I call the unstable neck. Unstable in the sense that you're going to have a little bit of poor control between the bones. They might move just a little bit more than they're designed to do. Your body freaks out with this, and it tightens all of your larger muscle groups to try to protect you. And of course, that tightness brings pain and dizziness. So we need some stability exercises to build back up the innermost muscles. Once they come back online and your brain's able to connect to them better, your outer muscle tightness just starts to go away. So I'm going to show you an exercise for this muscle group in the front called the deep neck flexors. They play a vital role of protecting and stabilizing your neck. So there's several ways that you could exercise your deep neck flexors. I've shown several variations on my videos. This one's going to be another variation. So if you try it and it works well for you, keep it. If you try it and it doesn't work well for you, discard it and look at some of my other videos to maybe get some ideas on alternative ways. But let's look at this exercise. So I bring my chin to neutral. We practiced that earlier. Now what I'm going to do in a controlled manner, I'm going to let my head slowly tilt back a little bit in a controlled manner. And then I'm going to bring my chin, I'm going to kind of curl it in and bring it back to neutral. Now, some people get dizzy if they tilt their head too far back, so maybe we only tilt the head back that much. Gently let it go back a little bit, then stop, curl my chin in, and bring it back down. What's going to happen is this deep muscle group in the front, it's going to lengthen to let you go back in a controlled manner, and then it's going to shorten as you curl your chin and bring it back in. Build up to 10 reps. If 10 goes well, build up to 2 or 3 sets. This could easily be a twice-a-day exercise. Now, let's go with the scenario that you tried this exercise and the motion of going back, even the small motion, it's just too much. It's making your neck hurt or it's maybe making you feel dizzy. Here's another way that you could activate these deep stabilizer muscles. Grow tall from a slumped posture. Bring your chin to neutral. I'm going to put just a couple fingers underneath my chin and I'm going to do an isometric exercise, like 2 opposing forces, but there's not going to be any relative motion. They're going to counteract each other. My chin is going to slightly go down towards my fingers, and my fingers are going to slightly come up, and the 2 forces will cancel. I'm only going to use like 1% of my maximum effort, super light. My chin goes down, my fingers go up, and I hold it for maybe 6 or 8 seconds, and then relax. If I can, I might do 5 reps. If you can do 5 reps, you may eventually progress to 10 reps. I like this one because it's easy. You don't need a lot of equipment. You don't have to lay down or get into any awkward postures. And you can exercise in a nice upright position, which is your strongest stable position. So there you have it. 5 main problems that could make your cervicogenic dizziness worse. But with a little bit of change and some daily routines and a little bit of exercise, we could easily make a big improvement. I'm going to put up another video that I made a little while ago with some great strength and stability exercises. Check it out. Give some of the exercises a try. Keep it pain-free, dizzy-free, and drop me a comment and let me know if it helped. Well, if you got anything out of today's video, do me a big favor. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a future episode of Physio Tips Tomorrow. We upload a video every week. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next video.